Tonight on ATV News.
We want to make sure we're doing all the things to keep them safe.
We'll show you how USU responded to safety needs during an ongoing investigation.
Of course, Old Main, we don't really take any chances.
We'll tell you why firefighters were paged to Old Main coming up. It's been a dry winter, but snow is in the forecast. In weather, I'll show you how much we'll get and how long it will stick around.
Coming up in sports, men's basketball tied the record for the 6th best three-point shooting performance in program history. But was it enough to get the win?
All that and more, ATV News starts now.
The campus of Utah State University in Logan, Utah. The Department of Journalism and Communication presents the award-winning newscast, ATV News.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get back into Mountain View tonight.
Residents of Mountain View Tower eventually made it back into the building after an evacuation. This was the start of an investigation that brought the FBI to campus. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Kesley Kincaid.
And I'm Easton Scott.
A Utah State University spokesperson confirmed the student involved in a chemical spill is no longer enrolled at the university. This is the first time we hear from school administrators on camera. ATV's JT Miller has the interview you'll only see here.
Here on Old Main Hill, the university spokesperson Amanda Dorito wants to make sure one thing is clear.
Student safety is always our primary concern when we have issues around safety on campus.
It's why students were evacuated Thursday night, January 17th.
We don't want to take any chances when there are unanswered questions.
Utah State University Police and Logan Fire Department were called to Mountain View Tower where they found a student with a mixture of chemicals. But that wasn't the first time they paid that student a visit. Here's a timeline of what happened. According to a probable cause statement from the Cache County Attorney's Office, police went to Mountain View Tower on Monday, January 13th. USU police say Joshua Peter Jaeger set off the fire alarm by mixing chemicals, which they confiscated. Police deemed the room safe. On Thursday, police say Jaeger set off the fire alarm again.
Students received an Aggie alert on their phones telling them to shelter in place after a chemical spill contaminated the first floor of Mountain View Towers.
Students later evacuated. In the probable cause statement, police say Jaeger acknowledged setting off the alarm and police took him into custody.
I was just annoyed because it was the 4th time in 3 days that the fire alarm had gone off.
Firefighters investigated the spill with hazmat suits. They helped some students decontaminate from the spill, while others waited outside or in neighboring buildings. Once safe, students returned to their dorms. But this wasn't the end of the investigation. The following Tuesday, the Federal Bureau of Investigation visited campus twice after USU Environmental Health and Safety found uranium ore.
I was very shocked about that. I feel like that's very dangerous, and I just can't believe that was happening somewhere where I live.
Investigators returned on Wednesday for a final inspection. They cleared out residents for a few hours and searched for more hazardous materials. USU police says they found no more threats to students and deemed the building safe. Dorito says Jaeger is no longer a student at the university. Moving forward, she hopes students will let administrators know what's going on.
We really want to encourage students to share information, to see something, say something.
JT Miller, ATV News.
Dorito says the university will do a debrief soon about how they'll address similar situations in the future. New today, Utah State University Vice President for Research says the pause on federal funding has been canceled. The temporary pause went into effect Tuesday evening. Trump paused funding for all federal funded projects with diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, or DEIA, sponsored research projects. The executive orders also halted work orders, as well as terminated federal agencies. As of this morning, the executive orders continued to impact research at USU. The Vice President for Research is reaching out to faculty with specific types of funding and the new requirements under these executive orders.
Smoke filled all 3 floors of Old Main, Utah State University's oldest building, this week. Firefighters believed it was on fire, but that was not the case. Firefighters with the Logan Fire Department found smoke on the 1st and 2nd floors of Old Main. Thursday evening, there was also a strong burning smell. They used thermal imaging cameras to see if they could find the source. And firefighters say they were surprised to find nothing was on fire.
The guys who went downstairs found out that there was indeed something burning, and it was popcorn.
This wasn't the first time firefighters have been called to Old Main. The attic caught fire in 1983 but did not spread. Thanks to Logan City's fire department's quick action, there have been compressors in the basement that have caused a burning smell in the past, but have not caught on fire. The burnt popcorn left no damage to the building and set off no fire alarms. Classes continued as normal.
Students from high schools all across the state came to visit the Utah Theater Association. 2 students from each college in the Beehive State set up booths talking about their theater and fine arts programs. Students had the opportunity to network with different programs in hopes to find a good fit for their future in the arts.
It's an amazing opportunity for them to get to know different students from across the state, for them to work on art that they love.
Students went into the theater to watch professionals perform and then got to workshop different skills with them. Students rotated through different areas of art to learn. The event went from Thursday to Sunday. Utah State hosts the Utah Theater Association every year in the spring. Joining us at the desk is Dayton Call from ATV Weather.
Sometimes it's hard to plan things in the spring because of the weather. Dayton, how does the weather look for next week?
There are some ups and some downs in the weather this week. Coming up, rain with a clear blue sky behind it. The current temperature is 39 degrees.
The water temp itself is definitely warmer than the air temp.
We'll show you that even the ice didn't stop these people from jumping in a lake.
Hello, parents and prospective freshmen of Utah State. You seem tense. Please take a load off. Here at Utah State, we know the value of balance in student life. Balance. 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 Utah State student housing, a balanced way of life.
The surplus store. Someone's trash is about to be my treasure.
We have cords and cables here. We have bags full of towels and sheets. Do you want this fold-up mattress? Because we don't.
We got keyboards, paint cans, whatever this is, typewriters, computer monitors.
It's destiny on the line, and we want you at surplus.
Products are not guaranteed to work. All sales are final. This commercial is not endorsed by Utah State.
Welcome back to ATV Weather. I'm Dayton Call. Let's take a look at our national radar. If we look down south, we have a storm brewing down in Texas, and we have another storm pushing through in the northeast. But taking a look at our state radar, we can see that Utah has clear skies and it's going to continue to be a dry winter. But when we look at our 7-day forecast, we see that the next couple of days continue to be colder temperatures with clear skies. But as we move through into the weekend, we can see a 20% chance of snow on Friday and an 80% chance of rain turning into snow on Saturday, with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 36 degrees. Moving through, this storm will continue to push through the weekend, and going into Monday, we see a high of 49 degrees, and on Tuesday, a high of 49 degrees. So temperatures will continue to rise. And that's all we have for weather this week. Back to you at the desk, Kesley.
Thanks, Dayton. The cold temperatures didn't stop a few hundred people from jumping into a cold lake this weekend. Jumpers, some in costume, plunged into Bear Lake at the annual Monster Winterfest. Front loaders cleared ice off the top of the water. That water was 33 degrees. The water they are jumping into is warmer than the air outside. Organizers say the temperature was 21 degrees, but with the wind chill, it was -1.
Once they jump in, everybody's out because they need to go home and get warm.
Between the ice and the colder temperature, event planners say they had half the number of jumpers compared to last year. By jumping, people raised funds for both the family place and the local Bear Lake Valley Chamber of Commerce. Organizers use the Monster Winterfest to bring tourism to Bear Lake outside of the summer season. Joining us at the desk is Laura White with ATV Sports.
Laura, have you ever done the Polar Plunge?
I have, Easton. I actually did it when I was 10, and I would never do it again. Coming up in sports,
full court pressure.
I'll show you how the Aggies created havoc on the court, and if it was enough to return to the winning column.
This event especially is just to help people get in touch with
We'll show you how crafts and treats can bring people together.
These are cool. Did you?
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
That's the sound of the crowd cheering on Ian Martinez after draining one of his 7 3-pointers. Welcome to ATV Sports, I'm Laura White. On Wednesday, Utah State men's basketball team had a big night from behind the three-point arc against Nevada, but was it enough to get the win? Nevada got off to a quick 6-point lead, scoring 11 of the first 16 points. But Utah State answered back by driving in 8 consecutive points, putting them into the lead. The Aggies ended the first half 47, Nevada 38. Graduate student Ian Martinez got off to a hot start, draining 4 3-pointers within the first 5.5 minutes out of the locker room. Martinez finished the night with the game-high 23 points. Graduate student Dexter O'Connell was another double-figure scorer, connecting on 5 3-pointers like this one. He also had 4 assists and 3 steals. The Aggies forced 18 Nevada turnovers. The strength in their full-court press and aggressive defense allowed Utah State to capitalize off of those turnovers and score 25 points. In the second half, 33 of the Aggies' 43 points came from behind the arc, with Martinez shooting a perfect 5 for 5 in 3-pointers. The final score, Utah State 90, Nevada 69.
Yeah, we were going to press from start to finish, and I thought it really set the tempo and just created havoc. You know, that's what it does to the to the other team. They got to make quicker decisions, right? We're not so passive.
Really physical.
This week, the Aggies had back-to-back wins. Utah State traveled to play Air Force on Saturday for an afternoon matchup. The Aggies struggled with their shooting early on, connecting on only 1 of their first 7 attempts. But they turned it around quickly with a 14-point streak, allowing them to take the lead. In the second half, Utah State was shooting 65%, dominating their opponent at the basket. A big help came from the Aggies bench as they accounted for almost half of the team's points. The bench was led by junior Isaac Johnson, who had 12 points. Utah State led for a total of 38 minutes and ended the game Aggies 87, Air Force 58. Men's basketball plays tonight at 8 in the Spectrum against UNLV. Utah State women's basketball team recorded a road win on Saturday against San Jose. Utah State started off strong with a 17-4 run in the first 8 minutes, but the Spartans fought back, cutting the lead down to single digits. The score remained close throughout the entire game, with neither team leading by more than 5 points in the third quarter. But the Aggies showed up in the fourth quarter. Freshman Elise Livingston led the team with a career high of 22 points. Freshman Talia Logwood also achieved a career high of 17 points, along with 11 rebounds to record her first career double-double. Logwood was also named Mountain West Freshman of the Week. The Aggies secured their first conference victory, defeating the Spartans 70-64. Women's basketball will travel to take on Air Force tonight at 6:30. In women's tennis, the Aggies opened the season with a 6-1 win over Utah Tech. Up next, they will travel to play Montana State on Friday at 10. You're all caught up here on sports. Back to you at the desk, Easton.
Thanks, Laura. Here on campus, the arts and crafts were pulled out by the Arts Council. You don't have to be a regular Picasso to enjoy cookies and create art. The Arts Council hosted what they call Art Week at the Tag Art Student Center on campus. Lauren Toga says while cutting out pieces of art and eating a cookie isn't anything spectacular, getting to watch people make connections is what makes these events so special.
We just love the arts. We think that they're a great part of humanity and they're what make us able to connect with one another.
The Arts Council's goal is to get people in touch with their creative side by combining treats and crafts.
Thank you for watching this edition of ATV News.
You can watch this and other editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with another look at the Polar Plunge.
Have a great week, Cache Valley.